What's up, everybody? It's Redefined to the TV, and we want to do like a little short series. I'm gonna do one, my wife's gonna do one. I want to talk about in this particular webisode, how did I know that my wife was the one? I think many times people want to know, how do you know if this is the one? And we did a webisode on the one, but really the question is, how did I know this was God's will for my life? So I'm gonna give 3 ways how I knew, and then I'm out. And then a few days later, we're gonna post another video. And she's gonna tell you how she knew that I was a husband. The first way that I knew is that I knew who I was, so I knew what to look for. At the time, I was a student pastor. Now I'm associate pastor. I was looking for a woman that could be a pastor's wife. This is imperative because if you don't know where you're going, you won't know who to take with you. If you don't know your assignment, you won't know how to pick the right assignment. So I kind of knew already in the forefront, I need a woman who could serve. I need a woman who's patient. I need a woman who's loving. I need a woman who could be a role model woman. I need a woman who could deal with the man that has a mantle. Because it's one thing to love a godly man, it's another thing to deal with him having a mantle. All those things, when I was first looking at, she was a worshiper, I'm gonna be a pastor, so those things complemented. One of the beautiful things about knowing your assignment is you kind of know your position in the kingdom. So being a preacher, I'm like a trumpet blower. Everybody, here comes King Jesus. And her being a worshiper, she's laying down the red carpet because that's what worship does. It allows God to come in and take reign in this place. I'm blowing the trumpet, she's laying down the carpet, so in the kingdom we right next to each other. So that was the first way I knew. Right. The second reason I knew that she was gonna be an absolute excellent wife was her reputation went before her. Once I noticed her and saw how fine she was, I then began to do research. I started asking other brothers, hey, what is she like? Is she with somebody? What does she do? And I talked to her pastor. I was actually researching her. It's one thing to be impressed with a woman's bodily assets. It's another thing to be impressed with the woman who will crown you, right? And then you got to think about the crown. What type of crown are they going to give you? A crown of thorns or a crown of royalty? So she was known to help at the church. She was volunteer. She went on mission trips. She served. She would be cleaning up. All those things were perfect for what I know that God placed in my heart. Last reason I knew that she was my wife, it may really seem small and minute, but she was just so nice. You know, she was so kind, it would scare me. I'm like, dude, church people could be a mess. Church people could be brutal. I call her brutiful. So I was just like, man, as nice as she is, the way some of these ratchet church people are, the way they gossip and talk about people, how you could talk in tongues, but you can't talk to your sister. Your purse always blocking somebody. That's a whole nother webisode. But she was just nice and tender. And I know one of the attributes of Jesus is you're loving. And so she was so loving, so gracious. And for me as a man, I knew at that particular moment, once I began to research, I found out who she really, really was, that she already had some qualities that I needed. She's more than what I prayed for. She's also an asset for everything that I've been praying for God to do in me. She helped me develop my manhood. So those were just some basic ways that I knew that she was my wife. I wasn't concerned about just how fine she was. But I also was concerned about how fine she could help me with my purpose. How's that gonna look? So in a few days, what you gonna talk about? Hers gonna be a lot more lengthy because, you know, men, we're kind of straight to the point. Women are detailed. So.
Not necessarily.
Women, y'all are detailed.
And I'm gonna be talking about this week about how I knew he was my husband. So that's make probably, sure you tune in. That's probably gonna get more views than this one because I think every woman wants to know, how did you know? How did you know? Be on the lookout for it. How did I know that this was my wife? How did she know that I was a husband? Redefined TV, where we're redefining relationships righteously.